one game away. Blow up. We're playing for something, man. We're playing for something. It's gotta mean something to you. It gotta mean something. Everything you got. Everything you got. Let's finish this.
Do it, fellas.
Let's go.
Let's do it, fellas.
Finish 2-3. 1, 2, 3. Finish.
You ready to make history? Come on now. Yeah. You know, there's these two words. And when I say them, people get goosebumps because they know what happens next. So without further ado,
Free smoke.
look. Scared cause I'm drowning in silence with bad thoughts. These days I don't have nothing to say, man, the bag talks. I put in headphones on my driver. Pull up to the spot and give a good dick and Godiva. I can't lie, I'm uninspired. No more pillow talking about nonsense. I only stick around to put some band-aids on my conscience. I don't know why I feel so bad, nigga. That's what we do, no foundation. We don't build no more, we just screw. Half a bottle of Henny, girl, I'm going with the wind. The same niggas say they happy for me, ain't want me to win. So I'm done on my friends. Don't need help popping Coronas and reminiscing. I just call up Big Bro J and say it's time for venting. If I live forever, I hold this hate for some centuries. You don't know how much or how you doing with admit to me.
This is what's funny to me. Clearly, Lou Anarumo was a good coach. You want to know how I know that? Because they allowed all that nigga's talent to walk out the door and said, Lou will still figure out what to do with this defense, even when we give him the bare minimum or nothing. On the offensive side of the ball, you want to know how I know that nigga can't coach? Zach Taylor? Because they refuse to lose any of that talent. They continue to try to keep it as long as they possibly. See, they couldn't tag T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd and Joe Mixon. So they was forced to let two of them niggas go.
When did winning not become the main thing? I always say keep the main thing, where, winning is the only thing that truly matters.
Welcome to Kicking It with Saint. Yo, I appreciate you. Appreciate you for being here. You could have been anywhere else in the world. You did not have to click on the video, and you did, so I appreciate you for that. You could never understand. Listen, at some point in time in the show, I am going to get up and go get me something to drink, because for some reason, I sat down and did not make me I didn't bring a drink in here. I don't know why I did that. I don't know why. I ain't gonna lie, I might go do it before I even start. As a matter of fact, let me go make me something to drink real quick. All right? Let me go make me something to drink. I'll be right back. That was an elongated pause because as I was going to the kitchen to make me something to drink, I wasn't even making me nothing to drink. I was just pouring a already made drink in a cup. Nonetheless, as I was going to the kitchen, the fucking cat was in the kitchen. And I do not like the cat being in the fucking kitchen. And it only does that shit at night when we forget to put it in its room. Nonetheless, how's everybody doing out there? I hope everybody is having a dope day, dope afternoon, dope night, whichever part or point in time in the day you're watching this. I appreciate you for joining me. We got some things to talk about. I appreciate you if you checked out my last show on the All-Star game. I feel very, you know, I done listen to people the day after the All-Star game happened. And I done listen to more people just continuously tear down All-Star. I'm going to be honest, man. The amount of negativity that people throw out for absolutely no reason is so fucking annoying. Not only that, it's this thing where people love to preach positivity, be positive, but they continuously result to this negative shit. And it's unnecessary negativity. Like I said on the show, the previous show, like, I understand critique, but it's past the point of critique. Niggas ain't critiquing no more. They just straight up hating. That's the definition. Like, that is hating. It's like, that's all you doing is being annoying and being a negative ass, hating ass nigga. And I hate it when they be like, well, it's my job. Your job is to critique the product, talk about it, not to be negative all the time. Like, what are we doing? But, you know, we're past that. We do have some things to talk about. I don't know if I gave the proper amount of respect last night to the TNT crew. I can't remember if I did or didn't, but I thought about it before I got on tonight, and I said to myself, I need to make sure that I properly give credit to the TNT crew. Shaq, Kenny, Charles, and Ernie, a part of my basketball life for the entire... I don't remember a time where I was watching the NBA and didn't see the TNT crew. I remember them before Shaq got there. I remember them when Shaq got there. Like, I love NBA on TNT. That is by far my favorite iteration of watching the NBA. You know, you could watch it on ESPN, ABC, yada, yada, yada. But growing up, for me, TNT, Friday night, Saturday nights, the All-Star game, like, to me, the All-Star game probably will have just as good a feel to it with ESPN and these other networks, because I'm pretty sure they'll go all out for the All-Star game also. But I know for a fact that TNT was going to do it because they took this thing very serious. They done had the All-Star game for as long as I can remember. I don't think I remember a time where TNT didn't have the All-Star game. I think they have had the All-Star game every year I've been alive. So that's a huge part of my life. That's and TNT crew still gonna be around. They just don't have the All-Star game anymore. But I'm pretty sure they'll be at some of the, well, maybe they won't, but I don't know. I think they understand how important they are to basketball. So I have a hard time believing that they won't, like, ESPN won't get them there. Like, they just won't be the All-Star broadcast won't be on TNT going forward. I'm almost like, I feel like, why would you not bring those four back though? If this on ESPN or wherever it's being televised at. I don't know why, especially Kenny for the dunk contest. I mean, I feel like Kenny and Shaq have to be in the dunk contest. Like, as far as Shaq being the one viewing it and making it feel big, and Kenny and how he, like, I love Kenny in the dunk contest talk when he commentating the dunk contest. So I think that as far as, like, I'm thinking about sports shows I've watched over my lifetime, TNT is, I think, is easily number one. Like, I don't think it's a sports show that I have ever liked or loved as much as I liked and loved the NBA on TNT. Like, I don't even think that I watch. I think that yo, they dead ass might have been what made me start watching, like, post-game, pre-game conversations with these analysts and stuff, because of how great, and I don't think it'll ever be a crew as good as TNT's crew, because, you know, they got that crew on ESPN. They done had multiple crews on ESPN. None of those crews are anywhere near as good. I just don't think it's a crew with that type of chemistry that they're just a perfect crew to me. I noticed how people have been talking so negatively about them, and I think that's really because people just get bored with greatness and they eventually just start hating on it. I saw when people were saying that the TNT crew is why the ratings were going down. And to me, that was just goofy and buffoonish talk, bro. They are one of the reasons people watch. I hear more people say they'll watch TNT before they'll watch the game. That ain't got shit to do with the TNT crew. So I'm going to miss them hosting the All-Star game because, like I said, that's been a part of my childhood and my entire life to this point. So shout out to Ernie, Kenny, Chuck, and Shaq. And the TNT crew to help them put all of this together, man. Obviously, I don't know the name of all of them. Oh, Underdog, put him on a t-shirt. That's Shaq. I do it. That was a terrible Shaq impression. I feel like I can do better. but I don't feel like trying at this moment. I just thought about it. I don't feel. Few solid niggas left, but it's not enough. Yo, I've been listening to Not Like Us a lot lately, because I'm now listening to I'm just now getting around to listening to G and X, because I don't listen to albums as quick as other people. I like to marinate on albums and listen to them hoes all the way through, listen to the lyrics, yada yada yada. And after listening to this Not Like Us a couple times, like I done listened to it a lot, but boy, that shit really do get better every time I listen to it. And this is no shot at Drake, because I could care less about the beef, to be honest with you. I don't know if Drake ever. I don't know if I think Drake make good diss tracks, but I'm thinking about the diss tracks and who he was dissing. Like I said before, I just don't think Drake is ever prepared for how far some of these niggas was willing to take it. Meek was clearly not a worthy opponent. Kendrick is a whole different level. And now I'm looking back on it, Drake thinking that this shit was gonna be a friendly little battle the entire. If it was Kendrick and J. Cole, maybe it would have been friendly. No, I'm pretty certain it would have been friendly if it was Kendrick and J. Cole. Now that I'm thinking about it, have Kendrick and Drake ever done a song together? Because I know Kendrick and J. Cole have done tracks together. I remember when Kendrick and J. Cole rapped on each other's beats and was like they gonna do an album together, and they never gave us that album. I'm still disappointed. I still want that album. Cause you know what's crazy? I done listened to all of the songs that was throughout this beef. Yo, by far the best songs throughout the entire beef. And I know this not gonna be fair for one of them, but it's definitely Not Like Us and Port Antonio. Yo, that Port Antonio is stupid. Hey, don't you know that? Don't you know that? Ride to it. That's my shit. Yo, I love Port Antonio, bro. That is my shit. I'm a J. Cole stan, though, so. I love Kendrick and Drake, too, though. If I had to list them, though, I done probably said this a million times. Drake is my least favorite of the three. But Drake got tracks that I absolutely love. I just don't think, while I do think Drake can rap, like, people be saying Drake can't rap. That's just false. I can name a lot of great Drake tracks where he rapping. Now, he might be lying in them tracks to a lot of people. Like, growing up, I used to say, I'm not really a fan when Drake's singing for the bitches. I get it. That's how you make that bread. I like it when Drake lie and rap hard. Like, that's the type of Drake I rock with. That's the one I want to hear. I don't give a fuck if he lying. I really don't. I'm not listening to this shit to know if he telling me the truth or not. I'm listening to this song to be entertained. Like, stay scheming. It bothers me when the guards get to acting like the bras. Guess every team doesn't come complete with niggas like ours. That's why I feel no need to compete with niggas like y'all. I just asked it when you see me, you speak up, nigga, that's all. Or when he was like, on 7 a.m. in Toronto or whatever that shit, 7 a.m. in that, whatever that 7 a.m. one is, that, Jesus Christ, that shit is tough. It's funny how money can, when that nigga said, he got so many bars in that trap, but when that nigga said, what he was talking, when he was talking about if he stay, then the game is like, it's gonna be a bunch of corpses. That whole track was tough. I ain't gonna lie. But, and then I like that Say What's Real. Bro, Drake got a lot of nice tracks. But if I had to be honest for a second, because I was thinking about this the other day. Somebody was talking about albums, and I done listened to damn near every album that all three artists done put out. Now, none of them albums do for me what J. Cole's albums do. Bro, 2014 Forest Hills was my favorite album for a long time. And it's hard to pass the Black Album or the Blueprint or 444. Well, actually, I think 444 came out after. 444 is currently my favorite album. But the KOD is second, and then it's no, it's not KOD second. It's 444. It's My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. because I just re-listened to that. Yeah, it's just hard for me to put. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy always gonna be a top 5 for me. But it's matter of fact, I'm not even gonna range them. Just in my top 5 is 444 by Jay-Z, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy by Kanye, 2014 Forest Hill Drives by J. Cole, KOD by J. Cole, and the last album is the Black Album by Jay-Z. They're my top 5 albums all time. Now, when I'm listening to, like, I really don't want people to think I'm finna be hating on Drake, but I don't know if I like any Drake album all the way through. Like, I don't know if I done liked any of his albums all the way through, or the majority of the album. Like, it's very possible that it's hard to like any album all the way through, even though I can name a lot of albums that I like all the way through. I do not like any of Drake's albums all the way through. Now I'm not finna dick ride Kendrick, but Kendrick got like 3 albums that I like damn near all the way through. How to Pimp a Butterfly. That shit is, Lord, that shit is my shit. I love How to Pimp a Butterfly. I'm not gonna lie. Kendrick got this one album that was an untitled album, and all the tracks was like untitled, untitled. I love that album also. And then what's the other one called? You got the Pimp a Butterfly, Good Kid, Mad City. I like that one too, but Pimp a Butterfly is my favorite Kendrick album, bro. I love that shit. G and X might end up being my new favorite Kendrick album though. But now that when I'm thinking about it, bro, I just like so many more J. Cole and Kendrick albums than Drake, man. And then I was listening to some of their albums today, and it's very apparent to me, while I do believe that Drake can rap, I don't know if Drake can do what Kendrick and J. Cole can do, because I was listening to them, and the way that I feel about Kendrick, Cole, Hove, like rappers, I really don't feel like, I do believe Drake can rap. I don't know if I think Drake can put together a whole album the way J. Cole and Kendrick and Hove have for me. Hell, I don't know if he can put together an album like Kanye, because Kanye, while I don't like The Human, I got a lot of Kanye albums in my top, like Graduation is in my top 10. What's the other one called? My shit, The Life of Pablo is in my top 10. I love The Life of Pablo. That's my shit. Donda almost made it into the top 10. It almost did. But Donda is like in my top 20, because there's a lot of tracks on Donda that I absolutely love, bro. Donda is probably in my top 15. I'm not even gonna lie. There's a couple annoying tracks on there, but I love Donda. I love my 808s and Heartbreak. That's in my top 20. Yo, Kanye was on it. I don't know if it's an artist who got more. Let me think about it, because I like a lot of Jay-Z albums also, and I like every single J. Cole album he done ever released. It's tough, because Kanye got a lot of great albums. Anyways, we are not here to talk about music. We are here to talk about football. A report came out, and I just want to say, before I even start talking about this, no, I swear, the media, they just report some of the most unnecessary shit. I swear. They can report a story and just be done. But instead, they decide to report something and then start reporting a whole bunch of other unnecessary shit that we don't need to know. Like, I really don't get it, but a report had came out that Aaron Rodgers, the Jets were not going to bring Aaron Rodgers back. I understood that. That didn't shock me. They are trying to go in a different direction. They're trying to bring order back to the team, and I'll get into a lot of reasons as to why I think they didn't bring him back later on in the show. But I understood the decision. That report. We didn't need anything after that. But then a report came out yesterday that I read that said Aaron Rodgers was begging to come back to the Jets. He was pleading with them to come back. Yo, who did that information help? Like, I understand that the media don't like Aaron Rodgers because Aaron Rodgers done spoke about how he don't like the media. But at what point in time do one of these grown ass individuals decide to do their job and leave the emotions out of it? That's what I'm wondering. Because they love to call these athletes sensitive. But then they go report shit like this. Like, how is an athlete not going to respond when you offer up needless information like that? It's like when they had reported that Draymond Green was crying in the parking lot calling Kevin Durant when they lost to LeBron. For one, I just have never believed that was true. Draymond done said it wasn't true. Other people said it. I just refuse to believe that was true. That was crazy. That was clearly an unnecessary ass. Like, we didn't need that. I don't understand some of these unnecessary ass reports that the reporters give out. I really don't. This is why I understand why these athletes be going at these reporters sometimes. Because it's like, God damn, I understand reporting one thing. But then when you do all this extra shit, reporting all this extra shit that makes no difference, they want to trade me. Oh, now you're going to report, oh, I was bad. They say he was bad at practice. He was late for meet. It's like, my nigga, what are we doing right now? So, and plus people report shit like that and they know exactly how the response on social media is going to be. They never report that shit thinking to themselves, oh, social media is not going to say anything about it. They know exactly what they're doing. And it's a shame that nowadays reporters really don't give a fuck about how people are perceived, how they look, and things of that nature. They don't care about talking about people the way they wouldn't want people to talk about them. They just care about how many people retweet and like their fucking tweet. And that is a problem in 2025 where people don't move off of, you know, people used to say it's a problem when niggas move off of emotion. But now niggas is just moving off of how many likes I can get on a social media post. That is far worse to me than moving off of emotion. Because humans are just emotional individuals to begin with. Now, I do believe niggas need to learn how to control their emotions, need to learn how to manage their emotions. Some of the most manic and, you know, loose cannons on this earth are niggas who don't understand how to manage their emotions. However, this shit, sometimes you gotta pop out and just show niggas certified boogeyman. I'm the one that up the skull with them. When that motherfucker said what OVO stand for, bird bitches and bird niggas, I said, Lord have mercy. On Turn the TV Off when he said, I hate a nigga, I hate a bitch who hate a bitch when they both hoes. I hate a nigga who hating on another nigga when they both broke. God! I be saying the same shit. Niggas on broke ass niggas on Twitter hating on each other and hating on rich niggas. It don't make sense. Don't make sense. But let me tell y'all something. Somebody had tweeted something the other day. I don't have a tweet in front of me, but I remember what the tweet basically was. It was like it was a tweet where this one random, you know, the weirdest people on Twitter is the ones who don't even have profile pictures for their accounts. They have like profile pictures of celebrities or some weird ass thing as their profile account. And it was a woman who tweeted this. And she tweeted basically how much she hated Jay-Z and how much she hated that he was found innocent. And she was basically going at niggas in the comment section who was basically calling people out for just wanting black men to be found guilty. And her incoherent ass tweets was just annoying me because they was just stupid ass tweets. Like, she would tweet something stupid. People would tweet her a factual thing to disprove what she just said. And she would still just hop to conspiracy theories, which I think is very weird that people hate people so much that they have to lean into conspiracy theories as to why they are successful and things of that nature. It's very weird. Or it's weird when one person get found in some shit, they automatically say, oh, well, you know what? That nigga hang with him, so he had to be in it too. Or that nigga spoke to him one time, so that had to be on him too. You know, this hate that broke niggas have for rich people is really a disease. But I remember tweeting this person back and telling them basically, yo, shut up and go get help. Because, like, this type of hate you have for rich people is disgusting. It is a disease at this point. I said, you need to get help, like dead ass. You need to get help and get off the internet. This nigga tweeted me back and she said, how can I hate rich people when I'm a Rihanna stan? And I didn't respond. But I wanted to respond and say exactly why you need to go get fucking help. Because now you're a Rihanna stan who hates Jay-Z because you feel like you were in some war with Jay-Z and Beyonce because you are a Rihanna fan. Mind you, how stupid this is that you don't know any of these niggas. Jay-Z, Rihanna is signed to Jay-Z. Like, this manufactured hate that niggas be having for niggas they don't know don't make sense to me. It really don't. Like, I dead ass think this shit is a disease, man. This shit's mind numbing. But anyways, back to Aaron Rodgers. Now, a report came out that the stipulations for the Jets basically to bring Aaron Rodgers back. Now, see, this information I don't mind. I don't feel like I needed to be privy to it, but I don't mind it. That information, whereas he begged the Jets, he pleaded with it, that's ridiculous. We did not need that. They love to kick niggas when they down. However, the report that came out that basically said the Jets are telling Aaron Rodgers, like, yo, if you want to be back, the Pat McAfee shows, those shits, they're done. You cannot do those anymore. And you have to come to training camp. And we need you here for all the off-season workouts and shit. If that's all the stipulations they gave to A-Rod, and he didn't want to meet those stipulations, I understand why they would. I even understand the stipulations. Like, in in certain situations, I would be against these type of stipulations. Like, I don't think you should be able to tell a player he can't go on the Pat McAfee show throughout the season. Like, other teams, I'm pretty sure other teams are telling their players that, but every team's not telling their players that. Because I think having them dudes on there grow your fan base anyways. Plus, now, I'm going to get to Aaron Rodgers in a second, but it's a lot of benefits to players going on the Pat McAfee show. Now, the flip side, I do understand the controversy and all the drama that usually comes out of Aaron Rodgers' Pat McAfee interview. I do get that. I understand that has been a distraction for the Jets for the past 2 years, probably. I understand that at the end of the day, they'll deal with you until they can replace you. That is just as simple as that. And they felt like they could replace Aaron Rodgers, and what he did on the off the field did not equate to what he was doing on the field. So now, if he was doing what he did in Green Bay on the field, we don't give a fuck if it was drama every single time he came off of the Pat McAfee show. The fact that we are a lottery team, one of the worst teams in the league with Aaron Rodgers at the quarterback, but he going on Pat McAfee show every week, now we have a conflict of interest. So I understand why the Jets, you bringing more drama than wins to the team. I really can't hate the Jets for making that move. Or making that a stipulation as to why they wouldn't want you back if that was something you would still do. The off-season stuff, I agree 100% on that, because I probably care about that more than the Pat McAfee shit. For the simple reason, I understand Aaron Rodgers being an older player, being a veteran player, so he feel like he don't have to show up for this shit. But these niggas don't play with you, bro. They have not been with you for the last 10, 15 years. You cannot develop chemistry just in season. You have to work with these niggas in the off season. Like Rashad Bateman being hurt all those years, it showed that he and Lamar lack chemistry. Look at what a full healthy year of Rashad Bateman being able to do the offseason workouts, being able to do the training camp, being able to be in practice with Lamar. Look what that did for them. That's all the Jets wanted Aaron Rodgers to do, is create chemistry with the guys on the team. And you can say all of the young dudes on the team was always being very respectful and speaking up on Aaron Rodgers. But I can guarantee you, if you asked them, did they want him there? They would have said yes, because we have not played with this nigga all them years, like Devontae Adams, like Randall Cobb. And that was one of the things that I kind of knew was a bad sign when Aaron Rodgers first signed with them. And I even said this when it happened. When they brought Allen Lazard and Randall Cobb to the Jets, I said, this is not good. Why would you sign two unproductive players? I do not care that Aaron Rodgers is familiar with those players. You bring in players that your quarterback familiar with if those are still good players that can give value to a team. The Jets did not need either of those two players. And it played out exactly how I pretty much figured it would play out. Because if you watch Allen Lazard, for one, I was annoyed when niggas kept calling him a number one. I don't even think Allen Lazard is a number two. Allen Lazard is a number 3 receiver. He looked good in Green Bay at times because they refused to go out and get more talent after Devontae went crazy. They just felt like Devontae and Aaron would get the job done. But when you are Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall and all these other young dudes on the team, you want Aaron Rodgers to be there as much as possible so you can develop as much chemistry with him as possible. So you don't have the little mistakes that you have. And like Aaron Rodgers blaming Mike Williams, my nigga, I didn't practice with you until the season started. Like, we didn't have any off-season workouts together. We don't train together in the off-season. We don't go and find each other and just train. Like, all the time we had together is here, and sometimes you ain't here, nigga. Like, that's the thing with Aaron Rodgers. I think people looked at Aaron Rodgers, and I'm going to be honest, I really believe that the Jets looked at because the one thing that the Jets have to understand is we can't get rid of the whole fucking team. So we have to narrow down what we think the biggest problem on the team could possibly be. To me, they looked at Aaron Rodgers and said, if we let him go, a lot of things could change. I do believe letting Aaron Rodgers go does help you as far as you get control of your locker room back. You get that. And I really hate to say this about Aaron Rodgers, but I'm just calling it the way it's been reported. Aaron Rodgers seems to be a negative in a locker room at this moment. It does not seem like he is a positive in a locker room unless he is just your homie. Like, unless you are already cool with Aaron, it don't seem like he has been the greatest of locker room leaders over the last couple years. Now, I understand the Jets. Some people would say, well, the Jets don't have a quarterback now. Jets didn't have a quarterback last year. I mean, shit. Aaron Rodgers didn't even win you 6 games. So you didn't have a quarterback last year. So I understand the Jets finally did. The Jets are doing what the Raiders should have done before. What the what's that team who I keep talking about won't move on. It's an NFC team. The Saints and the Raiders. They would not move on, bro. They would not just hit the reset button and rebuild. The Saints don't even make sense. The money should have showed them that we need to just start over and they still won't do it. Derek Carr never. Neither the Raiders nor the Jets. I mean, neither the Raiders nor the Saints make any fucking sense that they refuse to start over for this long. Now, the Jets, it's hard for me to go at the Jets as far as starting over. They keep trying different quarterbacks. They took a Sam Darnold. They took a Zach Wilson. Now, you can get at him and say, well, you should have took a Lamar Jackson. Well, you should have took this guy. You can do that. But they took who they took. It didn't work out. Bringing in Aaron Rodgers, another time to try to reset. It didn't work out. The fact that they are now getting rid of Aaron Rodgers, they got rid of the head coach. They got rid of the GM. They are having a whole new reset. I understand people who say it's bad that a franchise keep resetting. I agree to an extent. But the fact that the Jets realize we have to tear this thing down and reset, that's going to get them to where they need to go quicker than the Saints and the Raiders. Refusing to reset shit. Like, refusing. Like, I really don't get it. I really don't get it. I really don't. And the Jets' future is brighter than those teams. And it's crazy because the Jets play in the AFC. Like, you already have a brighter future in the NFC by default because you don't have to play against Mahomes, Lamar, Burrow, or Allen to stop you from getting to the Super Bowl. So you already are at an advantage. The fact that I feel as though the Jets have a brighter future than the Saints. Now, this could all change for the Saints because they could go draft a quarterback. I doubt it, but they could. But the fact that they love to hold on to these old players who really didn't, that still cost a lot of money, bringing in players that cost a lot of money that's not getting you any younger and things. I don't think Alvin Kamara done ever had an 1,000-yard rushing season. I could be mistaken, but I don't. We'd be celebrating Alvin Kamara because of his all-purpose yards, because he is a great receiving back. But it's the reason I never took Alvin Kamara over certain running backs, because I still believe that your running back, as good as he is at catching this shit, he still need to actually be able to be a running back. That's to me what's always separated Christian McCaffrey from Alvin Kamara. Because yes, they both can receive, or Aaron Jones. Because yes, all three of them catch like receivers. They all can line up in the slot and do crazy shit at the running back position to make you think, damn, these basically receivers. The difference is McCaffrey and Aaron Jones have 1,000-yard rushing seasons. The difference is when they play, I expect, if they are healthy, Christian and Aaron Jones to go get 1,000 when they were healthy and in their best days. I never expected Kamara to go get 1,000 yards because I never looked at him as a 30 carries a game back, like a Derrick Henry, a Saquon, and all them other dudes. So the fact that they haven't went and got I believe the Saints should have always been running a 2-set back. They did when they had Mark Ingram, but then they just let him go. But ever since then, it's really not been that. I just don't understand it. To me, the Saints should see the Saints should have traded Alvin Kamara. They should have traded the receiver before whatever happened to him ended up happening to him. Like I don't even know if he in the league anymore. But they held on to Drew Brees too long. And I understand letting a legend retire when they want to, but you didn't even bring in anybody behind him to learn behind him. And at that point in his career where he can't throw the ball past 10 yards, I don't care if he gets mad that I'm drafted. See, that's what I'm saying. This is just what separates franchises, because the Packers went out and got Aaron Rodgers when they still had Brett Favre. They went out and got Jordan Love when they still had Aaron Rodgers, because they are a realistic franchise and understand when these niggas start getting, and Aaron Rodgers won 2 MVPs afterwards. They still went to Jordan Love. I don't understand some of these teams' refusal to move on. The Ravens moved on from Joe Flacco to Lamar Jackson. That future wasn't a guaranteed. They still knew that they had to move on. The Chiefs moved on from Alex Smith to Patrick Mahomes. They had no clue how that was going to work out. They still decided to move on. Like, I don't understand some of these teams that refuse to hit the reset button and start over. Because it's not even starting over if you do it properly. It's just changing some things around to get back to what you need. Refusing to evolve in the NFL, you could hang on for a while, but you'll never win a championship and continue to be great if you refuse to evolve. And that's what I think the Raiders, and like, just look at it like this. The Raiders could have reset their whole franchise once they knew that they were not good enough, didn't have a quarterback. Everybody in the division had a quarterback basically, and it was top dogs in the AFC. They could have traded Max Crosby at his highest value and gotten a lot back for him to set themselves up to get a quarterback and to rebuild the franchise. They chose not to. Instead, they signed Christian Wilkins, a defensive tackle. The Raiders need so much that when the only thing that you truly have on your team is a defensive end, and you go out and sign a defensive tackle like you the Eagles, you have a problem. Then you move to the Saints. What did signing Tyrann Mathieu do for you? All you did was pay him these last couple years to just go out there and play football for you. He didn't change the fortunes of your team. That was never a player that you needed to sign. You were never Drew Brees' last years, and ever since the Saints haven't been close to winning the Super Bowl. But they keep making stupid ass decisions. Guys who they probably should have let go by now, like a Demario Davis, they should have let go probably 2-3 years ago at his peak, because they knew they couldn't do anything with him. That's what I'm saying. It's the same thing that's happening in Cincinnati right now. I truly believe Cincinnati will not win a Super Bowl with Joe Burrow. And I thought that they would win one with Joe Burrow. But because of how they continue to run this fucking organization, I just read a report that said that T. Higgins is about to be franchise tagged. And now T. Higgins can't be franchise tagged after he's franchise tagged a second time. So he will be a free agent at the end of the season if they don't come to a contract negotiation. This is my problem. I can almost guarantee you that they will not come to a negotiation on a contract. T. Higgins will now have to waste 2 years of his career on a franchise tag. And then he will be 2 years older when he is finally a free agent. Just because the Bengals did not want to pay him, but they knew they could force him to be there twice. That is ignorant. He is wasting 2 years of his career. What if he get hurt this year? Then when he a free agent next year, he won't get the contract he could have got last year or this year. The NFL has to get rid of the fucking franchise tag. I know we was talking about Aaron Rodgers and we done led our way all the way to the franchise tag, and I'm going to get back to the Jets and Aaron Rodgers, but the fact that the franchise tag is still a thing is annoying. The fact that you can franchise tag a player twice is even more annoying. The Bengals have no intentions of paying T. Higgins. They just know they are better with T. Higgins. So we can force this nigga to stay 2 years in a row before we have to let him go. So what they are basically saying is, we got 2 years to win this Super Bowl added on to what we already had. I'm almost certain they'll franchise tag Jamar Chase now. Because Hendrickson, Chase, Higgins, you got to pay one of them. You just franchise tag Higgins if that's true. You can't franchise tag Hendrickson and Chase. You're not also letting either of them walk. Well, you're not letting both of them walk. Which is so confusing to me, because Jamar Chase is going to be the highest paid receiver in the league. You could have got T. Higgins on a great deal 2 years ago, 3 years ago probably. You definitely can't. I just don't understand how. And the NFL keep letting niggas do this. Like, this is why I have an irritation with fans consistently going at players. Because imagine if you were a top tier player and your team would not pay you for your services properly. They would not pay you your value. I see niggas complain every day who go to work who think their job don't pay them enough. But imagine that you were an NFL player or any type of star and you did not get paid your value and you are a top player at your position. Top 10, top 5, whatever you want to say. You are a top player at your position. And they don't want to pay you. But they also won't let you leave to go get paid. So now you risk the chance of getting hurt, your skills diminishing before you can get that big payday. You risk a lot of things going wrong because this team won't pay you and won't allow you to go get paid. How is that a rule? How is that allowed? Like 1 year, I get it. A team can't figure out that 1 year, give them an extra year to try to figure out how they can keep this player. After that, you should not be able to franchise tag a player. That is absolutely insane to me. I don't understand how that shit is still a rule in the NFL. It's the same way in the NBA. See, the NBA, some people will say the equivalent is the restricted contracts. I kind of don't like a restricted free agent either because they can easily get matched by their own club. The reason I don't like restricted free agency, but I can deal with it, is because that's basically a franchise tag. It's basically a franchise tag. And they can only do it once. And most of the time, the NBA, them niggas don't be matching contracts anyways, most of the time. And unless they really want a player. And if a contract get matched, that player is probably happy because, I mean, he went out and got the deal he wanted and forced his team to match the contract. Unless a player just absolutely hate the team, which I can't recall too many of them situations. But nonetheless, they got to figure that. It's not no figuring out. They need to get rid of that shit. Or at least make it so you can only do it one time. I truly wish nothing but the worst for the Bengals. And it's not even because they play in the same division as the Ravens. I just don't like how they do their players. I really don't. That's why I haven't rooted. That's why I've never liked the Bengals, basically. I don't like that a billionaire is allowed to be this fucking cheap. I really don't. Yes, it give the Ravens an advantage most years because they didn't have the greatest facilities. They didn't have the greatest owners and coaches and yada, yada, yada. But at this point, these niggas are going out there on the field, getting into car wrecks every game. And these niggas, the owner, is cheap as See, this is a problem for me because it's one thing when a player is asking for way more, so you got to let him go because you think he can get paid more because you know he ain't worth that, but another team will. This is not even that. This is just straight up the Bengals don't want to pay him, but they know they can force him to stay on a franchise tag. That is so unsafe. And we talk about player safety, and I can guarantee you it's going to be niggas next year if T. Higgins sit out. Oh, T. Higgins ain't true to the game. He don't love the game. It's because it's not y'all money. It's not y'all money, but if y'all were put in the same situation, every single one of you niggas would choose to sit out if you had got franchise. For one, yeah, some of you niggas will keep playing if you was franchise tagged the first season. It's no shot none of you niggas playing if you franchise tagged twice. Stop playing. Stop playing. Especially when you a T. Higgins. With that talent, yeah, stop it. Stop it. T. Higgins could go out there and make T. Higgins could get a contract right now if he on the open market that could match Jamar Chase. I mean, that could match T. Higgins. Justin Jefferson. That's just reality. Because T. Higgins is not a bum. T. Higgins may not be better than Justin Jefferson to some people. I think if you put T. Higgins on his own team, where he is the legitimate, bona fide number one option, and he don't have to share targets with Tyler Boyd. See, people don't realize T. Higgins is as good as he is, and he done shared targets with two great receivers throughout his career. He done shared targets with Tyler Boyd, who was there before him, and Jamar Chase, who was slightly better than him. Like, T. Higgins, to still be as great as he done been, with that type of talent around him, Joe Mixon was over there. Like, T. Higgins is going to get paid when he become a free agent, if they ever allow that to happen. I pray that he stay healthy all year. I really want him to sit out all year. I'm not going to lie to you. People be like, well, that's going to hurt his value. No, it won't. No, it won't. It's too many teams that need a receiver. It's just too many teams that need a receiver. And as long as you got young rookie quarterbacks playing on rookie deals, receivers will make good money, especially if they are good receivers. T. Higgins is going to get paid. I don't believe the Bengals are going to pay him because the Bengals are not going to pay 2 receivers top tier money, or a quarterback top tier money, and a pass rusher top tier money. They are going to want to spread that out. Plus, the team building on this team to me is hilarious. I think it's very clear that coaching on. See, this is what's funny to me. Clearly, Lou Anarumo was a good coach. You want to know how I know that? Because they allowed all that nigga's talent to walk out the door and said, Lou will still figure out what to do with this defense, even when we give him the bare minimum or nothing. On the offensive side of the ball, you want to know how I know that nigga can't coach? Zach Taylor? Because they refuse to lose any of that talent. They continue to try to keep it as long as they possibly. See, they couldn't tag T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd and Joe Mixon. So they was forced to let 2 of them niggas go. Because once again, they are cheap. They will not pay niggas they value. So they had to let them niggas go. The Tyler Boyd one was smart because Tyler Boyd is now older. The Joe Mixon one still don't make sense to me. He is older, but you still needed a running back. And he happened to be one of the better running backs in the league this year. Nonetheless, Tyler Boyd signing with the Titans really didn't make sense to me because he could have been a great player. So I don't even think it's age that fucked Tyler. It's the same thing that keep happening to receivers who sign with the Tennessee Titans. That is not a play. Like niggas used to say, oh, if you want to be great, don't go to Baltimore if you're a receiver. No, my nigga, if you want to be great, don't go to Tennessee. That's where they're killing receivers right now. But when you look at all of those, hold up for a second. I gotta go get some. Hold up. Give me a second. But when you look at all that talent that Higgins done played with, for him to still put up these type of numbers and still be as great as he done been, I mean the stats really, I think somebody said the other day that they was looking at the stats or some shit like that, and it was like the stats say that Joe Burrow is better with T. Higgins actually. It's just always crazy when I hear people say shit like that, like T. Higgins is just randomly some ass can. Like, if y'all niggas watch the games, you know that T. Higgins is an important part of the offense because the nigga playing with 2 number 1 receivers. Getting sick and tired of niggas acting like T. Higgins a number 3 or some shit. I remember when Anquan Bolden and Larry Fitzgerald played together. Like, niggas act like 2 number 1s ain't never lined up together. It's rare, but it can happen. You don't have to call another nigga number 2 just because it's a receiver who get more. Like, I don't understand that. Niggas trying to hurt T. Higgins' value, bro. And shout out to Joe Burrow, man, trying to get his dues paid, man, telling the organization to stop being so fucking cheap. And I think that's a necessary thing. It's like I said about Lamar, bro. Lamar got to go to the organization and tell them, like, yo, I need fucking weapons. Like, Joe Burrow got to go to them boys and say, well, for one, it's kind of weird that Joe Burrow feel like, it's not weird because they're his boys. He going to get them paid. But Joe Burrow, I don't know if he understands that T. Higgins will make more if he is on a different team than he will if he is on your team. I know Joe Burrow just want to keep that talent together because that's a lot of great talent. And it's very rare that you get 2 number 1 receivers at the same time on your team, Reggie Wayne, Marvin Harrison. But I do hope he realizes that T. Higgins, I mean, unless they get very close to a high level deal that he willing to accept, T. Higgins, well, even then, T. Higgins is going to make more money. It has to be no doubt in T or his agent's mind that the most money he will make is not on the Bengals. That have to be like, I imagine T. Higgins' agent is saying, yo, you're not playing this year. I imagine that's something that's going on with T. Higgins and his agent, but who knows? Anyways, back to Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. I'm not shocked at all by this Aaron Rodgers fiasco stuff, man. Now, where will Aaron Rodgers go? That is very interesting. I saw reports talking about Matthew Stafford might be traded from the Rams. I want to say something too, because fans clearly do not watch these games. I'm looking at fans who are not Rams fans, just fans who feel like they are fans of football. Really, they just fans of their team. Continuously talking about how Matthew Stafford's so good, the Rams is stupid for trying to trade him. They don't understand what they're doing. I don't listen to shit ESPN say no more, because after them niggas said Eli should have been a first ballot. I mean, come on, how can I take you serious if you legitimately believe that Eli Manning is a first ballot Hall of Famer? Like, we watch the same games and you believe Eli Manning is a first ballot Hall of Famer. To me, saying something like that is laughable. That to me is a fireable offense. That is a fireable offense. We all watch Eli Manning play, bro. Stop playing. I do not care if they say, well, no Super Bowl, no quarterback who ever been a Super Bowl champion twice ain't in the Hall of Fame. Well, Eli should be the first, because Eli is not a Hall of Fame quarterback. It's as simple as that. I don't think Phillip Rivers is a Hall of Fame quarterback. And it's not just, Super Bowl, because Eli got 2 Super Bowls. I do not think that he is Eli Manning to me should not even sniff the Hall of Fame. And it's annoying knowing that he will, because he is going to stop somebody from making it in when they should, and somebody from making it in on the first ballot. Because either way you look at it, Eli is going to take a spot of somebody who is more deserving than him. I do not care about team success when it comes to the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame is not a team award. The Hall of Fame is individual success. And when you look at Eli Manning's career, just him on his own accolades, Eli is not a Hall of Famer. You watch those games. We saw those things. 2 Super Bowls is not erasing all those years of football that he played. It's just not going to happen. That's insane to me. Nonetheless. Aaron Rodgers, where could he go? I could see a couple spots where he go. I mean, maybe he want to swing over there to New York and play for the Giants. I'm pretty sure the Giants will love to have him. But if we being honest, I really do. I think that, because I do believe Aaron Rodgers will play this year. If he don't, it wouldn't make no sense, the sentence I was about to splurt, that I was about to say. But I think, what's my percentages? I give it about a 70% chance Aaron Rodgers is going to play this year. And if he does, I could see him going to the Rams if they were to get rid of Matthew Stafford. I could also see him going to San Francisco, to be honest, if they don't keep Brock Purdy. But I think they're going to keep Brock Purdy. I'm not sure what they'll end up paying Brock Purdy. But I do believe that they would I do believe that they would bring in Aaron Rodgers. I just think Kyle Shanahan would think to himself, I can get Aaron Rodgers playing the way I need him to play to win. And I really believe that Kyle Shanahan might think to himself, I done tried this thing with so many makeshift quarterbacks that I done made look better than what they actually are. How about I finally go get a quarterback who I think can be good? And he does need people around him now, but I have the pieces here, and I am a good enough coach to get Aaron Rodgers where he need to go. I think that could happen. I saw a report that said he could go to Tennessee. I don't understand why he would ever want to go to Tennessee. That would make no fucking sense to me whatsoever. I could see Indianapolis signing him. They like to sign them old quarterbacks. They did Phillip Rivers. They did Matt Ryan. Hell, why not swing at Aaron Rodgers? I could see the biggest team I could see signing him really is San Francisco or the Rams. Because them California teams, I think he would love to play in California. Those are 2 coaches who I think he would allow them to coach him. I was going to say some reckless shit. He would allow them to coach him. I'm trying to think, is it another team that I think he will go to? See, the problem for Rodgers is none of the teams that he could go to, aside from the Rams and the 49ers, which they would need to get rid of the quarterbacks they already have, which is not a high possibility that happens. So those are not even like 50. The highest probability of him landing on those teams ain't even 50%. But the other teams that have higher percentages of him going to just ain't good teams. And they aren't good. They just aren't good teams. They are nowhere near good. Like, I saw somebody say he could go to the Raiders and do what? Fuck is he going to do with the Raiders? Like, I do not care that Tom Brady is running that organization. I love the GOAT, but that nigga ain't suiting up. Like, I don't understand what people think Aaron Rodgers. You just saw with the talent he had in New York. You think he gonna win more in a worse and a harder division and less talent on the team? Yeah, that don't make sense to me. I'm gonna be honest with you. The Titans make sense more so than that one because that's a trash ass division. But I don't think he'd get past CJ Stroud and the Texans. I really can't think of no other team that I can see him going to. All the teams that he could go to are terrible teams that really should not be trying to sign Aaron Rodgers. Unless you're trying to make... And really, if you are... The Raiders should not want any part to do with Aaron Rodgers. Not because of personality or the drama he could bring. My nigga, you don't have a quarterback. Aaron Rodgers is not trying to lose on purpose. Therein lies a conflict of interest. Because you niggas need to lose on purpose. Because you need to get a quarterback. Aaron Rodgers needs to win. If these niggas sign him, I will be so confused. Now, another team that I actually just thought about that I really think could sign Aaron Rodgers, I just still don't have no faith in them because they just refuse to get a good offensive coordinator. It's the Seahawks. Geno Smith ain't taking you nowhere. I mean, I done said that multiple times. He is, at this point, I don't even think Geno is as good as some of these other quarterbacks who I used to say they all the same. And they are still pretty much the same, but he is, to me, very clearly the lower of those quarterbacks. Or maybe he is just the most unfortunate one. I don't really know. But if the Seahawks really want to try to move on from Geno, I could see them bringing in Aaron Rodgers for a year and trying to win with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, they will have the weapons. DK Metcalf, you have Tyler Lockett, you have Smith and Jigba. Like, I do believe that is a location so basically every team in the NFC West, except for Arizona, even though I do believe eventually Arizona is going to try to trade Kyler Murray. Even though I just don't understand. This is my thing. I don't really think it fucking matters that quarterbacks get traded anymore. Or trading a quarterback to me is no longer important because unless you trade a quarterback to an NFC team that's loaded, trading them to the AFC don't really do much for them because you only trade them because they're not as good as Mahomes, Lamar, Allen, Burrow, Stroud. He couldn't probably beat Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels, Stafford when he feel like playing good, a healthy 49ers. That's probably why you trade them. So I just don't, quarterback flip-flopping in today's league really don't matter to me no more because they not trading the top guys. And when one of the top guys was available to be had, niggas wasn't trying to get him. Everybody, as a matter of fact, everybody wanted to report we don't want Lamar Jackson. So it is what it is. You got to get lucky and end up drafting you a dog. Like, see, I like Bo. Bo Nix to me is not a generational type of talent, though. He is not a guy who makes everybody around him better. But sometimes you luck up and you get you a Jaden Daniels, because Jaden Daniels definitely seemed to be one of them ones. I can't wait to look at him over the next couple of years. That's going to be a fun time because the one thing I will say, when Commander fans have a good team, that is a hell of a fan base. I'm not even going to lie. That is a hell of, and I know a lot of Commander fans. Shout out to the Commander fans that I know that's done transition to actually calling their team the Commanders and not believing that an old name that people clearly feel has racial connotations to, which it clearly does, but nonetheless. You know what's the most annoying about that thing? When fake Indians or Indians who really don't have no clue about their heritage or don't care about, in black society we call those coons. I don't know what they call them in the Indian, in the Native American, in Native American culture, but it's very odd to me when a Native American who does not give a fuck about their culture or their history will come out and say, I'm not offended by it. My nigga, of course you're not. You're too whitewashed. You wouldn't care about it. I'm telling you, boy. I'm telling you. I'm going to say something very controversial to many people, but it's not controversial to me at all. It's just the truth from my walks of life. Any person that is not white who has hung around white people long enough will eventually stop giving a fuck about their culture. And it's not all white people, because some white people, I know one white person specifically who will not allow niggas to not know about their culture. However, I done seen it too many times. You get around white people who don't give a damn about everybody else's culture, who, matter of fact, get mad anytime somebody celebrates that. Do you notice that on Twitter? White people don't got a problem with nothing but people who celebrate. The only thing white people get mad about on Twitter is when other people who ain't white is protesting something that's bothering them. Then white people jump in and be like, oh, they always protesting. But January 6th happened. It's very odd. Very odd. Nonetheless, though, it's not looking good for Rodgers, man. It's not looking good for him. I'm not going to suggest retiring because I actually do get annoyed when people say, oh, he should retire. Man, nigga, play as long as they going to pay you. The only time I'll yell retire, retire, retire is in the UFC because you legitimately going to get yourself killed out there. Or if it's like a football, I guess I would yell retire if it's somebody out there, like if they on a hoop court. If they in baseball, they can, I don't know, man. It's very hard for me to tell somebody to retire because I understand that you can't do this forever, that you don't want to quit doing it because you've been doing it for the better part of your life at this point. Every day you done woke up, it's done been to be better at your craft at this sport. And when you feel like you got to retire and it's taken away from you, you got to find a way to replace that itch in your life. Now, I don't know that personally because I'm not an athlete. Well, I'm not an NBA or professional athlete. But I just done listen to so many athletes who done retired talk about life after retirement. So I understand fully why these players don't want to retire, why they hang around the game so long. The only game that you shouldn't hang around for a long time is the fight game. But aside from that, Aaron Rodgers can stay around as long as he wants to. That shit would not bother me at all. The thing is, I understand why it would bother other teams because he has basically became Brett Favre. What Brett Favre did to the Packers that annoyed the Packers, that's basically what Aaron Rodgers done became to the Packers and the Jets. So I get it, but listen, I hope the man lands on his feet. I know somebody out there going, he gonna be fine, he rich. But I hope he lands on his feet. I really don't know. I really would like to see him on one of them NFC West teams. Maybe I'm just thinking that he can rekindle some of that old magic. I don't know, but he didn't really look terrible to me last year. He just looked like a nigga who didn't show up for training camps and shit and have extra. He just looked like to me a nigga who hadn't been playing with his teammates for too long. That's really, and yes, it was parts where he did look diminished. But remember, some people might be watching me for the first time. But I said Aaron Rodgers last season, I was like, the Packers did not miss the playoffs because of a bad defense or Matt LaFleur. They missed the playoffs because of Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers was not good to me that season. He wasn't terrible, but he wasn't good. And if he had allowed LaFleur to coach that team the way he wanted to, they would have made the playoffs. It's no coincidence that LaFleur has made the playoffs every year since Aaron Rodgers has left. It's no accident LaFleur has been one of the top teams in the NFC and one of the teams we believe can contend for a Super Bowl in NFC ever since Aaron Rodgers left. And it's not a coincidence what Aaron Rodgers' career has turned into since he left. I understand being a vet. I understand being the big dog. I understand being the nigga who don't win the Super Bowl. I understand all that. But at the point in time when you become uncoachable, when you start to feel like you bigger than your team, you bigger than your players on your team, you bigger than your coach, then you become an individual. And you're not playing golf, you're playing football. The moment that players begin to believe that they are bigger, I don't care how great you are of a player. The moment Tom Brady started to believe it's Tom Brady and the others, the fans can talk like that. You can't. And the moment that players started to feel like Aaron Rodgers was a bad leader, he was singling niggas out, he was throwing niggas under the bus, he cared more about Aaron Rodgers and his Pat McAfee interviews. He was preparing for that more than he prepared for the game. When those things started to happen, that's what started to really hurt Aaron Rodgers. And it really did begin with he not a good teammate. He not a good locker room guy. And I know you got the James Jones of the world who will scream to the rooftops about how much he loves Aaron Rodgers and how much Aaron Rodgers was a good teammate. But it's so many conflicting stories at this point. And now people are just using what they are seeing. So, listen, I don't really know. I don't know where Aaron Rodgers will end up. But I do hope he go to that team prepared to, like, be the Aaron Rodgers of old. And I'm not talking about be the Aaron Rodgers of old play style. But Aaron Rodgers got to tap back into that. It's like J. Cole told that nigga Drake. Like, bro, you got to tap back into them pen skills. Aaron Rodgers, you got to tap back into them pen skills, my nigga. If you going to survive this thing, if you going to go out the way you want to, because I know you don't want to go out with your last season being the shit that just transpired with the Jets. I know you don't want that. I know you don't want to go out like that. But that's probably how you're going to go out, bro, if you don't allow a coach to coach you. You should still be with the Green Bay Packers, but you wouldn't allow. And I'm going to be honest. If I was the Green Bay Packers and I thought Matt LaFleur could do what he doing now, I probably would have got Aaron Rodgers up out of there the year after. Like, he would have stayed that first year after I drafted O'Jordan, but he wouldn't have been there for another 2-3 years, bro. That just wouldn't have happened. And if it was as bad as they say it was in Green Bay with Aaron, like, come on, man. When that report came out, this is another report that I'm talking about. When the report came out where the GM told Aaron Rodgers not to be the problem, I still think to this day, why the fuck did I need to know that? I still don't know why that shit came out. But nonetheless, the fact that your GM had to tell your ass not to be the problem, like, to me, those was the signs of we tolerate you till we can replace you. That was the GM letting Aaron Rodgers know we very close to replacing your bitch ass. So it's gonna be interesting. I know that nigga Brian Gutekunst's probably a good man. He probably didn't wish none of this on Aaron Rodgers, but I know at some point in time he had to sit back and say, "I told you." On the next show, we'll touch on the Myles Garrett trade conversation and his trade request. I wanted to talk about Aaron Rodgers though on this one. With that being said though, I appreciate y'all for joining me on another episode of Kicking It with Saint. Tell somebody my feet cold as hell. I forgot to turn the heater on in my studio, but it's not like a big studio. I don't want y'all thinking nigga balling. It's literally like a makeshift studio, but nonetheless, you gotta start somewhere when you're dream chasing. With that being said, though, I appreciate y'all for joining me on another episode of Kicking It with Saint. Tell somebody you fuck with them. Tell somebody you love them. You could be anything in this world, so choose to be kind to somebody today. Like, subscribe, share, tell a friend to tell a friend. I appreciate all the new subscribers. I appreciate the comments. I appreciate the likes. It mean the world to me, and you can never understand. I appreciate you. I fuck with you. I love you. Saint out.
That's exactly how I feel. I feel like I just got spat on. I feel like they just pulled out the whole goddamn cup on me. Man, I'm stressed out. B&B, every day we live. Hey, every day, Uso is stressing the
I got the moves like hot sauce. Lil' mama taking the top off. I'm laying down getting topped off. After this, she know she getting knocked off. I know she loving the money, so I keep on thumbing and thumbing. She say she horny when she taking shots, so I keep them coming and coming. Now I'm putting dick in her tummy, scoop her up like I'm raking her something. You would think shawty red track, the way that she running and running. You getting dumber and dumber, you out here chasing the bone. After she finished from giving me dome, the Uber is taking her home. Tight.